Hello there. I'm just going to give this a moment or two to start broadcasting properly and for it to do its building an audience bit, as it were. So bear with me. I shall tell you more in a few moments' time. I'm just going to endeavour to edit this post and put a link into it right now at the top, the description of the video, which ultimately is the link I would please like you to click on either during this video or when the video's ended and read every word at the link, because a very important period of time, an important moment in history is happening as we speak, and indeed it was announced on the 1st of November, just a couple of days ago. Literally, this is happening now. It's in the process of happening. This is red hot news, and it affects every one of you watching this. Even if you're not based in England, the knock-on effects affect every human being on the planet. And that is that, namely, the government, in their infinite wisdom, the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport, Karen Bradley, has announced on the 1st of November 2016, just a couple of days ago, that before they decide whether or not to run the promised Part 2 of the Leveson inquiry. Now, Part 2 of the Leveson inquiry is meant to investigate and uncover the links between the police and the media and the corruption between the two. And implicated in that as well, no doubt, is also people in positions of power, such as perhaps some MPs or barristers, judges and such like. It's all that area of corruption relating to the media, police and other high-ranking officials. And we were promised that Leveson Part 2 would take place the moment that all the criminal trials regarding the phone hacking and other journalistic dishonesty were over and done with, which they are now, as far as I'm aware. But rather than them announcing a date to start Leveson Inquiry Part 2, instead Karen Bradley, the MP, the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport, has said that she has opened, starting from the 1st of November, a couple of days ago, a 10-week public consultation to decide if it's in the public interest, get this, if it's in the public interest to investigate corruption in the police, the media and high-ranking officials, and how that, the effects of it, is misleading the public, brainwashing the public and harming the public. Apparently we need a 10-week consultation, think of that as a survey, questionnaire online, to decide if it's in the public interest to uncover the truth about police corruption, media corruption and corruption with high-ranking officials, and how that affects what's reported in the media, how it affects the way people have been treated and often become victims of press abuse and miscarriages, excuse me, get a new set of teeth, miscarriages of justice. Now, personally, I think the fact that Leveson Inquiry Part 1, that were, uncovered the phone hacking scandal and this, that, the other, at the end of that, they promised us Part 2 because it was clearly in the public interest to have a Leveson Inquiry Part 2. It doesn't take a rocket scientist or a professor to see that it's in the public interest to get the truth out about police corruption, to discover the truth about media corruption, to discover the truth about the links between media and police corruption and other high-ranking officials. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. That's clearly in my interest and in your interest, in every human being's interest, to discover the facts about how we have been lied to, misled, deceived by corrupt police, corrupt media and corrupt high-ranking officials for decades. It strikes me that that quite clearly is in the public interest, and that's what Leveson Inquiry Part 2 is meant to investigate and uncover in depth. Now, bear in mind, as I make this video, it's precisely 2 weeks to the day since the now defunct News of the World, but also the Sun on Sundays, controversial fake Sheikh journalist Mazher was sent to jail for 15 months after being found unanimously guilty by a jury of perverting the course of justice, conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. This was one of their star journalists, and now it's come out more and more stuff about him, which you can see at the link above this video, okay? More and more evidence has come out that he lied, deceived and manipulated evidence, fabricated stories and evidence against people, not just myself, but people like John Alford, the London's Burning actor, Emma Morgan, the model, Herbie Hides, the boxer, Mazher, the cricket agent, the Earl of Hardwick. The list goes on and on. You'll see that there's numerous celebrities taking civil actions, and there's people like myself got appeals currently in to overturn the convictions. The point is, though, that's Mahmood's activities are now being uncovered, and that's another good reason, because he boasted of having bent police officers in his pocket, and he worked for the now defunct News of the World. You know of phone hacking, Millie Dowler's phone fame, you know, despicable what they did there. The fact is, of course it's in the public interest to have a Leveson inquiry part 2, and in that regard they're trying to get out of it by hoping that enough of the general public will ignore the online survey and not complete it, and then they can get all the people who are against Leveson 2 taking place to fill in the online survey in a manner where they can go, look, the results are it's not in the public interest. Well, look, protect yourself, protect truth and integrity. Let's get to the bottom of the dishonesty and corruption in the police, the media and high-ranking officials, and the way to do that is to click on the link above this video, and that will take you to my blog page. On there it will explain a little bit more, and it will give you a link to more information on why we need the Leveson inquiry part 2 to take place, why we need to uncover police corruption, media corruption, their links together, why we need to uncover the high-ranking officials, perhaps even MPs, barristers, who knows what will come out, but certainly media and police corruption. All of this is definitely in the public interest, and at the link above this video it will give you a little bit more background. It will also give you the link to the online survey the government are running that started on the 1st of November and ends on the 10th of January 2017. It's a 10-week public consultation. But you won't read too much about it in the mainstream media, because the mainstream media don't want Leveson Part 2 to take place. Of course they don't, because it will expose the general public to the truth about how they've deceived, lied and fabricated stuff for years, how they've manipulated stuff for years, how they've brainwashed the public for years, how they've used corrupt police officers, high-ranking officials and outright lies and illegal techniques. All of this will come out, so of course the mainstream media don't want Leveson inquiry part 2 to take place. And of course a lot of police officers don't want it, and high-ranking officials, MPs, don't want it. But we were promised it, and you can help make it happen by clicking on the link above this video and filling in the public online survey with the British government. Now, on that blog page I copied and pasted all the important questions from that survey, and I have also pasted in the answers I gave. In other words, just to help you out a bit so that you don't get confused, because they've clearly brought in some kind of psychologist to put this survey together, in my opinion, so that the multiple choice questions are laid out in a way to influence you to get confused or mixed up, or to be more likely to click the one that would be in favour of Leveson not taking place, okay? And they've laid it out in such a way that the wording of them as well can sometimes be a little bit ambiguous. So what I've done is I've gone through very carefully and I've copied and pasted all the questions from this Leveson inquiry part 2 public consultation survey onto my blog page at the link above this video, and I put the answers there that I put, the answers that I know are the ones that if enough people answer in that manner, it will force Karen Bradley, the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport, it will force her to have to make Leveson inquiry part 2 take place, as we were promised, because otherwise there will be too many people like me and you and everyone else watching this video who fill in that survey asking the question of why has it been shelved? And obviously there is only one reason to shelve it, that's if you didn't want to uncover the truth about police corruption, media corruption, corruption of high-ranking officials. Now, someone's just saying there's no such thing as truth and justice in this world. True. But here's the thing. We can force certain things to a certain degree to take place. Certainly, here's the thing. If you do nothing, nothing will ever change. This is something that will take 5 minutes of your life, well, 10 minutes at most, to look at my blog page, the link above or below this video, to see what the correct answers are for the survey in order to ensure that Leveson Inquiry Part 2 takes place. Oh, and the survey also is not just about Leveson Inquiry Part 2, it's also about, let me look at my notes, a thing called Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act 2013. Now, this is already in place as such, it just needs the green light, it just needs somebody to go, yep, enact it, let it take place now. And they could do that just like that when they decide to, if they ever decide to. And what this would do is, it would mean that the now newly formed a while ago, independent, and I mean truly independent press regulation body, Impress, which is funded by Max Mosley to a large degree. Impress, a couple of days ago, has actually been given a royal charter and approved. Okay, been given a royal charter and approved. Sorry about that noise, but people are trying to speak to me, and I am obviously on a video. It's been given a royal charter and approved. It's the truly only independent press regulator, and by truly independent I mean all the others have people on their committees or boards who either work for or have close links to national newspapers and media owners and stuff, who have a vested interest in allowing fabricated, distorted untruths to be printed, who have a vested interest in legal action not being taken against publications for defamation of character or for them creating further victims of press abuse. Whereas Impress is truly independent and wants Section 40 to be enacted so that it offers victims of press abuse an affordable and realistic route to justice and truth. At the moment, only really rich people can afford to take defamation or libel cases, but Impress and anyone who takes on Section 40, if it were to be enacted, of the Crime and Courts Act 2013, would be able to ensure that victims of press abuse could get justice for just a couple of £100, and there would be ways of getting funding for that as well for the poorest people. It would mean that there would be a genuine deterrent then, a genuine deterrent to the media publishing lies. There would be a genuine deterrent to the media distorting things and blowing things out of proportion, because they would know that they couldn't just print and be damned, knowing that people could not afford to take action against them for their lies, dishonesty and deception. So if you believe in truth and justice, you must also believe that it would be a good idea for Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act 2013 to be enacted herewith, so that Impress, who's got a royal charter, the only truly independent press regulator, can start using Section 40 to ensure that the media are held accountable. And this would mean that the media would have to start publishing the truth. This would help to some degree stop the situation we currently have, where some parts of the media will print stories saying this is the reason for leaving Europe, for example, and these are the reasons for staying in Europe. And then when it comes down to it, we found out as Brexit was going on that some of the stuff the leavers were saying was untrue. Some of the stuff that the remainers were saying were untrue. There was some degree of deception, distortion and dishonesty going on both sides. So that the media were conflicted. Now surely, if the media were obliged to tell the truth, based on solid, cast iron facts, evidence and reality, then you would get a similar picture from all directions. At the minute it's a bit like politics. It depends what their agenda is, and that's because they're not accountable to truly tell the truth and rely on facts and evidence. That's why we need Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act 2013 to be enacted, and that is something else that that the government are trying to sweep under the carpet, because they've tagged it into this online public consultation about whether or not Leveson Inquiry Part 2 into police, media and high-ranking officials' corruption should take place. As you'll see at the link above or below this video, where I explain it a little bit further in very simple terms and explain to you the correct answers to give to ensure that the Karen Bradley, the Culture Minister for Media and Sport, and the British government are shamed into ensuring that Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act is enacted, put into action to give victims of press abuse a realistic, affordable way of getting justice if they are wronged, lied about or screwed over by the media in any manner that is not lawful, justful or legal. Whereas currently the situation is the media get away with it because people can't afford to get justice. If you think that that situation is wrong, then you need to fill in that survey to help ensure that Section 40 is implemented. And if you think that the police, and it's not all the police, but some negative areas of the police, the media and high-ranking officials being corrupt and working with each other in an illegal and dishonest manner should end, and the public should know the truth about this in the way they now know the truth about phone hacking, and the way they now know the truth about fabricated, entrapped, created rubbish stories of the likes of the fake Sheikh, Mazher Mahmood, who's now jailed. If you think the truth should be out there for us and that the press should be accountable in such a manner that it ensures that the truth has to be printed, and if the truth isn't printed, they do face consequences, and victims of press abuse even can truly get justice, then you need to fill in the survey, the details of which are at the link above this video. And obviously, if you're only just joining me, watch this video please from the beginning where it ends and the replay starts, but most of all, look at the link above or below this video, and then go to the government website, the link's on my blog page, and answer the online consultation as soon as possible please, and then share this video when the replay appears, and also the link above it or below it to my blog page with everyone you know, and encourage them please to fill in the online survey. We need hundreds of thousands of people, ideally millions of people who value the truth, honesty and justice, to fill in this online survey to help ensure that the Leveson Inquiry Part 2 into police, media and high-ranking officials' corruption does take place, and to ensure that Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act 2013 does take place. If you're fed up of a world, especially here in England, where one of the world's most powerful media moguls, Rupert Murdoch, can have secret meetings with our current Prime Minister Theresa May, as was reported by the media he did back on the 14th, no hang on, let me look, I've got notes here, okay, in September, towards the end of September this year, 2016, the media reported Theresa May, some of the media reported, obviously not Murdoch media, that he'd had a secret meeting with Theresa May, and then over the weeks that have followed since, well, just look at what's happened. They're trying to shelve Leveson Inquiry Part 2 by doing this survey thing and hoping that people won't fill it in, or that only the people will fill it in who don't want it to happen. They're trying to shelve Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act being enacted to help victims of press abuse. There's all this stuff going on. And, just yesterday, High Court ruling yesterday, that Theresa May apparently has got to ask and get the MPs to vote on whether we Brexit or not. Democracy is going out the window. We all voted, well, the majority did, 52% voted to leave. I'm not bothered whether you voted to leave or remain, but what is relevant is that if you want a world where what you have voted for happens, and where there's justice, truth and honesty, and where the media have to report the truth instead of brainwashing the public, then you need to look at the link above or below this video and take the time to fill in the online public consultation to ensure that Leveson Inquiry Part 2 into police, media and high-ranking official corruption does take place, and to ensure that Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act 2013 does take place, and to help ensure a world where victims of press abuse and intrusion can get justice and are no longer in a position where they can't afford it, and where consequences do come to bear on the media. You can help make this happen. You truly can help make history by clicking on the link above or below this video and following the instructions there and filling in the online public consultation before the deadline of the 10th of January 2017. In fact, do it today, don't put it off. And please share this video when the replay appears. And please share the link above and below this video and encourage your friends to watch it. This is one of the most important videos you'll ever see. They're trying to distract from this. You won't read about it in the mainstream media because the mainstream media don't want Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act 2013 to be implemented, because they don't want a truly independent press regulator like Impress to have the ability to help victims of press abuse protect themselves and get justice. It would mean that the media would have to be more careful to print the truth and back it up with evidence, facts and reality. That's something a lot of them don't want. Something that's, we know from the phone hacking trials. We know from Mahmood, the fake Sheikh, being jailed a fortnight ago, and now tons of people are taking action to have their convictions overturned and get justice finally. Help justice occur. Do something that could truly be life-changing for you, your family, your friends. Share the link above. Encourage everyone you know to look at the link above or below this video, to watch this video and to fill in the online public survey to help ensure Leveson Inquiry Part 2 takes place, to help end the injustice, to put an end to the police and media corruption, to get justice, for example, for Daniel Morgan's family. Daniel Morgan, if you've not heard about, search Google for Untold Murder, the podcast, well worth listening to, or the Daniel Morgan independent panel that the government are apparently investigating his murder. At the moment, it's the most investigated murder in British history. It's had several police inquiries that have collapsed, and there's evidence out there to show that Southern investigations who were involved, linked to this, implicated, had links to the now defunct News of the World and regular contact and working relationship with the now jailed fake Sheikh Mazher Mahmood, and obviously links with the Rupert Murdoch organisation. Even more reasons for Leveson Inquiry Part 2 to take place. Mahmood boasted of having bent coppers in his pocket. For Christ's sake, police, media corruption, we need Leveson Inquiry Part 2 to take place. Let's get to the truth of why Daniel Morgan was murdered. Let's get to the truth of how the fiasco of the media Hillsborough coverage occurred. How Millie Dowler's phone was ever allowed, how they were ever allowed to hack people's phones. Let's get the truth. In the past couple of days as well, the government have announced they're shelving the Orgreave inquiry. This is something else the media was implicated in at the time. It stinks to high heaven. If you believe in justice, truth, reality, facts, and you want a better world, click the link above this video or below it. And then on that page, when you've read the bit of information, click the link and fill in the online public survey. Please do it, not for me, do it for yourself, your family, your friends, your loved ones. Who knows? If Leveson Inquiry 2 doesn't take place, and if Section 40 of the Crimes and Court Act 2013 were not to be implemented, giving victims of press abuse a realistic way to get justice, then God forbid, but it could be you or a member of your family or one of your friends who becomes a victim of press abuse in the future and finds their name tarnished, their life ruined, without the ability to get justice and make the truth known. If Leveson Inquiry Part 2 takes place and Section 40 of the Crime and Courts Act is implemented, then justice will come out, the truth will be known, and there will be an affordable, realistic and relatively easy way for victims of press abuse, lies, distortion and deception to get the truth known to clear their names and to get justice, which ultimately will mean the press will be far less likely to print fabricated, engineered, distorted, bullshit stories, because they will know there will actually then be a way that those that have previously been lied about can get the truth known. If you want a better world, take 5 or 10 minutes to look at the link, take action and share the link. Thanks for listening. Do something positive today. Go to that link, share it with everyone you know, and fill in the online survey. Bye for now.